so please do hold them to go through. Our next speaker is from the Birdhouse Buying Club here in Tampa. And please welcome Ryan Iacovacci.
Thank you. My name is Ryan, and besides Birdhouse, I also work for Monsanto Corporation, so I'm here.
Yeah, wow.
If y'all don't mind that. No, I like that. My name is Ryan. I want to thank Rain and some of the other folks for putting this on in the Roosevelt. This is a great space for this kind of organizing seriously. I have been organizing in Tampa in the local food system for the past 7 years. I've worked in every part of the food system, on top of organizing in the low-income neighborhood where I live currently, with the YMCA, and working to figure out the causations of childhood obesity. So I've got some experience in regards to food, and so I'm here not to speak on behalf of farmers, but rather to speak with you guys about how to engage farmers and why that's important, and then how we can support them in our day-to-day life. This is really exciting to see labor come together with the CIW and in this unification against the TPP, as you know, free trade on. So I didn't even know what the heck the TPP was until Rain texted me like a week ago, 2 weeks ago, and was like, "Hey, you want to speak?" And I'm like, "What is the TPP? What's going on here?" And then as I'm researching it over the past week and a half, I'm like not surprised that this free market capitalistic machine that Marx predicted would cross the globe and begin eating itself back in the 19th century. He was predicting this. So Karl Marx, that is, in the whole communist thing.
Groucho was against it too.
Yes, I'm here to more so give you guys some ideas and understand the importance of getting farmers. The farm workers are important, and we need to stand in solidarity with them. We also need to begin to pull the people who own the land, the farmers who own the means of production, who are also labor, who are also the proletariat, who are also the working class. We need to pull them into these movements. Throughout American history, the populist movements in our country, farmers have been on the forefront and have also been those pieces in communities that pull people together. So is anybody here from farming or anyone ever worked on a farm for an extended period of time or currently a farmer? Okay. So farming is, we all have this idea that we should support them no matter what, but farming as it is now needs our support more than ever, but we have to ask which farmers. And so, in my experience, in talking to a lot of farmers and organizing local food systems, distribution, and trying to get them to work together, the farmers that we have to find to support are those that have a cooperative attitude. These are the farmers that pay their workers a livable wage. These are the farmers that worry and are concerned about these types of issues, that aren't selling commodities, that are going to be benefiting from these type of globalist policies. And so the way we do this is through dialogue with farmers, going to farmers markets. You talk to people, you ask these questions, and a lot of times you'll find that farmers are in solidarity with you. But here's the problem. For example, in Florida, when the president was reelected, we saw all the different counties, the way they went. You saw all the cities where the universities were, they went blue. You see all the rural areas go red. That's where all of our farmers are in the rural areas. So often the farmers are Republican, are conservative, have this family value attitude, but are also often very conscious of these same things, of globalist trade policies, are aware of genetically engineered food, are aware of these same issues that we are all concerned about, paying labor a fair wage. And so to find these farmers, it's not always black and white, it's not always you're against us or with us, but it's always gray, and finding those people and dialoguing with them is really important to begin to pull them into this movement. Because when farmers join this movement, you're going to see then true power built in those who own the land. When that begins to unify, then banks get concerned, then politicians get really concerned, then you also have a unifying power in the symbol of food. You see, people from across disciplines come together on this topic. Everyone's got to eat. And when the farmer is involved in that, whether you're a gun-toting, right-wing, racist, whatever, and I'm saying all gun-toting guys are racist, but let's just go with me on this. They ultimately also will support local food, you'll find. And that family, local kind of feel, American feel, is still, found within that. And that's really important. And I think so often these movements get so radicalized and so polarizing that, people just get turned off immediately. So there's a really big need, I see, to unite with the farm owner, the farmer movement, and the farm worker, which I think there's a lot of commonality, in changing some of the language and opening it up to be for something also. So it's important to be against and to educate people. You go, this is what's going on, like I had no idea, but also equally important to be for a new system. And so what I want to just leave you with in suggestions is that protests are good, and it's good to get out there and show numbers and show that there's support for this. But every day you eat a meal, unless you're Mohammedan and fasting for weeks on end. And every time you eat, you are making a decision of who to support, what kind of farmers to support. Are you supporting the 5% of farmers that get 80% of the federal subsidies, that are your commodity crops, your soy, your corn, your wheat? Are you supporting those farmers? Or are you really trying to dig into where your food's coming from? Are you really trying to question those nuances and find it out? Are you willing to give up some comforts like cable TV, or maybe turning the AC on, during the day, or little things here and there, to pay for healthier food that's supporting those folks who stand in solidarity with you? And so every day you have that opportunity. It's hard, and especially in Florida, who is ranked the last when it comes to local food in the country. A survey was done by these folks out of Vermont who ranked Florida as the last concerning the ratio to farmers markets, CSAs, small farms, and cooperatives to the populace, so per capita. So that's what we're dealing with in Florida. So even more so, it's important for us to, even if it is at, a restaurant that might be bourgeoisie, if they're doing local food, that's money in our farmers' pockets, and that's important. But going to the markets like here at the Twilight Market, there's a lot of growers. Going to the different markets that happen around Tampa and Hillsborough County and in your own communities is so important that every meal, if you can, as a discipline, buying as local as you can, putting money in the pockets of those who are in solidarity with this same idea. That is really important, because that's going to change the economics. That's going to build a greater demand. That's going to mean more jobs for people as time goes on. If the farmer has to increase their farm size because you're buying their food, that's good. And if they're paying people a living wage, that's good. And we should be challenging ourselves and our communities to do this more. So I just wanted to really encourage you guys that every day is a revolution. Every moment you're eating, you can be in the revolution, not just in theory and word and speech, but in action. And more so than ever, we need to think about how we can build new economic systems. And I think some of the people maybe up here have talked a little bit about that. But find those new economies that are emerging and join in those, and stop playing the game of the multinational corporation. And to give you an example, have you guys heard of the Prop 37 GMO labeling fight out in California? There's a bunch of organizations working to label genetically engineered food so that we can know as customers who are buying this food what's genetically engineered and what's not. And the multinational corporations raised just under $50 million, which amounted to something like a commercial every 5 minutes in California, to defeat genetically engineered food labeling. Those organizations only raised a few $1 million, and they barely lost. So this next cycle, you're gonna see something big happen of how much money can multinational corporations spend, how much are they willing to try to defeat this measure. But now it's happening in Vermont, it's happening here in Florida. We now have multiple state sponsors for a bill that'll label genetically engineered food. This is the fight for not just the labeling of food, but against multinational corporations who are also behind this same effort. The same multinationals that own our politicians at the state level and at the federal level, and often at the municipal level, that this proposition that will be proposed here in Florida coming up, we need to support this in our communities and come together. Labor, the progressive religious movements, the farmer movements, come together for these, put our egos aside, and come together for this issue to build that sense of efficacy that we can get stuff done, that we actually have a chance against the multinational corporations. Because yes, TPP is one thing, and it's going to barrel through, and like the WTO, like the free trade agreements that have happened, this is a big monster. But the more little wins that we get, the more that people believe that we can actually do something, the more that we think that, just the thought, the more that it actually happens. But it starts small and it starts very focused. The civil rights movement didn't say, oh, we're going to change economy, the whole economic system, and we're going to liberate poor people. It started with very specific voting rights. And then it began to broaden, brought to larger issues. And this is a very large issue. So the smaller of a focus we have with opportunities, we can send messages to these multinationals to tell them that they don't own us. They don't own our communities. When we stand in solidarity with the workers, when we stand in solidarity with the farm owners, when those people come together, then they'll know. But until that point, we need to continue to build that sense of unity. We need to change our language. We need to put our money where our mouth is and support those farmers and build that trust. And then our chances increase of combating these types of issues and building our communities up here that can support it. So when these things go through and the multinationals begin to just eat each other up, that we can survive here in our own communities because we stand in solidarity with the farmers and those who work every day. So I just wanted to encourage you all, question everybody about local food, question me, question the farmer, and people that are honest love to talk about it. And I really enjoy these events and people coming together. It's really inspiring for myself because I take these messages back to farmers and foodies that I talk to. So and I've been working with the CIW for several years back on campus at USF. So it's exciting to see them getting a lot of momentum, especially here in Tampa, where Publix is parked over there in England. So this is exciting times, and thank you all for your time.